Hi, I'm Jean. The music playing is called Steve Angelo, Doug, and P. Wasted Love remix. I have to do that for YouTube credits. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about when somebody done you wrong. Oh my goodness. Now, a lot of people experience this, especially when they get into a narcissistic relationship with someone. But before we go into that, I want you to consider, is this someone that is in your close circle? Is this your family and friends, your life partner, sister, brother, mother, things like that? The first thing to think about is this an honest mistake? Is it a mistake you could have possibly made or have made? Is it something that's redeemable and you can work out and talk out? Attempt to do that first. And that will tell you where you stand. You also may need some time apart or away from that person. Now, if you try to work it out or you have some time apart or it's just something that is morally corrupted, I understand that. Because if you do get in with a narcissist, they'll play games with you and they'll go back and forth, and it's not worth it. So my best advice would be, because I've handled many different situations where I think someone was behaving in a very immoral way, and that takes a lot for me because I'm pretty free. As long as you're doing your thing and you're happy and you're living your authentic self and you're not purposefully hurting someone, then more power to you. But when you are a bully or a narcissist or a psychopath or something of that nature, and it's just your mode operandi, that's the people you need to separate, block, get away from as much as possible. So recognize it may be a mistake. Take some time. Talk about it and work it out. If these don't work and you figure out this person really should not be in your life, they're toxic and they're poison, and especially in any psychological or physical abusive relationships, start making a plan. If you cannot get away from them immediately or separate them, start making a plan to separate yourself and completely divide from that person, block them off, and just totally remove them from your life in all ways possible. Now, the consequences of what happens when someone treats you badly or you're separating from a toxic relationship is you will be damaged. You will have some stuff you need to work through. And I have many videos on this channel talking about spirit baths, meditation, magical or spiritual space, sacred spaces, shadow work. Please browse through the channel, look at chakra work. And start healing on your inside. Join support groups, because the mistake that a lot of us make is we blast it out in public on all social media. And I've done that before when they started going like behind the scenes after my loved ones. Yes, then I made it very public so everyone was warned and everybody knew what was happening. I didn't give details. I just warned them that this person is toxic. I'm not having anything to deal with them anymore. I'm not attending any of the social activities that they are in control of, and so on and so forth. So, support groups, separation, psychological and emotional healing is what you need to do. Learn from it. Do your shadow work. What possibly can you do and learn from this? One huge lesson I think everyone can learn from any bad situation, especially when it's another person doing it to you, is don't be like that person. How can I make sure that I do not pass this damage, emotion, psychological trauma onto someone else? That is the greatest lesson you can learn from every hard experience you go through. It forces you to grow. So even though the bad times are rough, it forces us to grow. This song is Jero by Lake Nivu on the Chilled channel on Sirius XM radio. Again, I don't want to get copyright busted, sorry. But most of the time when I separate from a person, group, or activity is because the leader is a toxic person and is either bullying, taking advantage of, or hurting other people. It's rarely my own personal issue, and I always try to work it out if I'm having just a personal issue with one person that I feel is having just me and that person. I work it out with them. And if I can't work it out with them or talk it through, learn from it, adjust to it, move on, then that person's energy is no longer welcome in my life and in my energy stream. And that's okay, because we move forward. We always think that it's going to be the end of the world when something happens, and it's not. We suffer, we go through pain, we go through cycles, we grow from it, and we move forward. So I'm just encouraging you, maybe not respond in kind when something is, I think you've been done dirty, as we say in the South. Learn from it, grow from it, remove that bad energy, that person, that negativity out of your life. If it's someone close to you, is it a mistake? Can it be solved or corrected? If you feel like you need to blast it on social media for others' protection, or you feel like you need to explain yourself, that's fine. And you're more than welcome to do as you choose and what's best for you. However, I've noticed when I've run across these type of people, I've tried it several different ways to see if each different way worked. I've told everyone about everything that's ever happened, and that did no good whatsoever. It actually made things worse. I've dealt with it privately on my own without telling anyone except, Lover, my better half. And just for support, because your better half or your people living in the household with you needs to know what's going on with you. Because you're acting different and weird, and it's very uncomfortable for everyone else. And, when I had that personal issue with one person, it couldn't be resolved because they took it as... It couldn't be resolved. And that was an indication that we no longer needed to have a relationship with each other. We went our own separate paths. We have our own separate lives. We have nothing to do with each other. I blocked them because there's really no reason for us to talk ever again. And that's fine. And we moved on from that, and I learned from it. And one of the things I learned is how to observe closer and probably more in depth the person that I may want in my circle, and take it very slow. And the other way I've handled it is I've not told anybody except Lover, and I gave just like, I feel like this person's a bully and an undercover narcissist. I am not comfortable with them. I don't want them in my circle. I don't want to be around them. And I left it at that. I didn't give details of the conversations or why I know it. And if they choose to accept that because they know me, then they'll stay in my energy and we can continue in whatever relation we have. But the third party that I'm talking about, again, cut off, absolutely cut off. And it's funny when someone shows their true colors to you and they turn out to be quite a horrible person, how people will fall away from you when you try to warn them. So that tell people in your closest circle what's going on, how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and why. And that actually might cause others that you thought were your friends or family fall away from you. And that's a shedding of people that are not in the energetic space that you should be in. And it's hard. And it's really hard, but you really need to talk to someone like a counselor or support group, your loved ones, so that you can move through the pain, feel it, accept it, move through it. If you hold it in and keep it completely private, and not tell anyone what's going on, it makes people around you miserable. It makes you miserable. And, it gives that person that did this the power and reinforcement to continue that behavior. So you kind of just have to monitor each situation. I would say keep it within you. Try to work it out with that person. See if it's a mistake and something that can be overcome and corrected. If not, remove them from your life. You do not have to tell everyone details of everything and show them every conversation that ever happened, because that's pointless chatter. And if you continue to mull it over publicly over and over and over because you're suffering and you're trying to get it out and get it over with, that becomes old and very tiresome, and that runs other people away. And there's a young lady now that's going through some stuff, and I constantly see it posted on her Facebook all the time, and I am so done with it. It's like over dramatic. Like, I understand that you've been done wrong. You let us know so that we won't, have dealings with that person, and we understand you're hurt. Excuse me. But after you've made it clear what happened, how you're feeling, and what you're doing with it, don't keep giving out details and rehashing it, because that makes me not want to be friends with her, because she's going overboard with it. She's being very overly dramatic. She's rehashing the things that have been said over and over and over, and it is just really overwhelming. So, you know, that right there may throw people out of your energy field, because you're in a space that they're not in, and it's not comfortable for them. And when you're finished with that, you may reconnect again, and that's fine. Sometimes we need to take breaks from each other. Now, if someone's suffering and you're like trying to be their support, but they overwhelm you, you can also step away, take space, and let them know. And maybe, I'm sorry, I can't handle this right now. And it's understandable, and that might hurt your feelings that someone does that. But self-preservation is important for all species. I've had acquaintances and friends do that to me when I was stressed out and having a hard time. They needed to step back for their own survival and life issues, and I totally get that, because we have our own lives. So, I'm sorry somebody did you wrong. Learn from it, feel it, experience it, move past it, grow from it, and move on. If you keep staying in that space, it will cause you more damage. Deal with it, okay? I'm thinking of you. I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening. Bye.